Is here, and today we are talking about basil, a favorite herb around the world. This is probably one of the biggest herbs around the world, isn't it?
It is. It's so huge because it can be used in so much ethnic cooking.
But a lot of people, if they have basil growing at home, they only make one thing. and you get sick of pesto after a while because if that's the only thing you make, you can really do a lot more.
Is that what you do? Because I feel like I see it in my spice counter, but I don't know what I would do with it.
Right, exactly, and you're right. Pesto is a common thing, and here's the good news. The good news is that even if you do pesto, there's a lot of different riffs on it. There's a bunch of variations, and I brought one for you today.
Okay.
But what I want people to know is that basil is also, it's not just one thing, it's a variety of things. So I've just got two different varieties here, and what I've got here is a traditional, the green basil that everybody refers to. That's usually what people mean when they say basil. It's just a sweet basil, garden variety basil. The red is also basil.
Well, how is that different?
They taste a little bit different, and there's all different kinds of varieties of basil. So there's like a cinnamon basil that tastes like
cinnamon.
Frogs.
Chocolate.
Oh, okay.
Right. There's actually a chocolate basil. There's a mint. There's Thai. There's a lot of different variations, and you can get the kind of a back hint of those off of the different kinds of basil. So there's all different kinds of things.
I've never heard that before.
Yeah, it's true. So, but the typical and most commonly used is the sweet basil. It's really easy to grow. So for home gardeners, that's always good news. It really likes abundant sun, which we've had.
Yeah.
It also likes a lot of good moisture, which we've had. So my basil right now looks like a hedge. It's huge. It's gigantic.
Now, do you harvest it and then dry it yourself, or you like to use it fresh?
I use it fresh. You can preserve it throughout the winter. There's a couple different ways of doing it. One is to just put it in a bag and throw it in the freezer and use it later.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's all.
It's not going to get deformed like lettuce?
It will turn dark, and it will be, when you defrost it, it will be limp, but most people use it in traditional cooking.
Okay.
So it's fine. It's going to get heated and do that anyway.
Right.
So for my raw recipes, if I'm going to be using it for that, I wouldn't use it in a salad because it will have an unusual texture, but it will work perfectly well for that. Another way of doing it is to preserve it in oil. You can just put it in oil with a little bit of salt, and it stores in the cupboard. So that's another wonderful tip. But let's use it fresh, shall we?
All right, so what do we have going on here with this beautiful plate you've given us today?
So the first thing I want you to try is the smoothie, which is in a cup. Yes. Now, it's a smoothie, and I put it in a cup, and I've given you a spoon. You can drink it out of the cup, or you can use a spoon. You can do whatever you'd like with it because it's got a lot of variation, a lot of options.
Oh, that's great.
Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah.
That's got basil in it.
So what are the benefits of basil? Besides what the flavor that it can bring to items or elements, what is it going to do for me personally?
Well, several things. Anytime you eat anything that's a leafy green, you're getting chlorophyll. And anytime you're eating something that's, isn't that lovely? Anything that's plant-based is going to have vitamins, nutrients, and minerals. This is so fresh that I made this for you this morning and went and clipped the basil at 7 o'clock this morning. That's how fresh it is. That's how wonderful and abundant what you're eating is. So in that smoothie is blueberry and basil, which team up really well together. The nice thing about basil is it goes with a lot of things. Watermelon and basil go beautifully. We already know that, it's beautiful juice.
That is really good.
And we already know that tomatoes go good with basil. So you've got lots of different options for something that could be a beverage. Now let's talk about salads, because everybody loves salads and salad dressings. You know I don't like to buy store-bought dressing. Right. So a salad dressing at home is so simple to make. This is what my salad dressing looks like, your salad dressing. I've got a little sample for you. Rather than put it on a sample, I brought you some crudités. You've got some sliced vegetables.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
That means surrender in French.
Yeah, there you go. So you've got a radish, broccoli, you've got a carrot, a red carrot, so you can try something different if you wanted to.
I thought this was a carrot dipped in chocolate when you first brought it here.
No. That'll be another segment.
Okay.
So you can just see what. So with the basil, the other thing that basil goes beautifully with is honey.
Really?
So that's a honey mustard basil dressing, made from scratch, real easy. Again, fresh from the gardens, basil, you can't go wrong.
It tastes very fresh. Like, I don't know how to describe that. Like,
So what do you use for mustard?
Mustard powder.
Okay.
And I use an organic, made in Iowa brand, Frontier.
Okay.
Would you say that has like a wheatgrassy type flavor to it?
It's got
Earthy.
an earthy because it's just freshly picked.
Okay.
But I think I like the honey. It's a local honey. All those things are coming through. Okay, then your final course, the main course, I've made you basically kind of like a little taco in romaine.
I'm going to eat the radish close to the mic.
Thank you for that. Crunchy and fresh.
It is
So
tasty.
your romaine leaf is stuffed with pesto. It doesn't look like the traditional pesto that you're used to, because what I've done is, instead of using pine nuts, which would be typical, Parmesan cheese, what I've done is used pumpkin seeds, some olive oil, garlic. There is no dairy. There's no nuts, so because there are people with nut allergies. Anything that usually people are allergic to, we've sidestepped by doing it this way. And then you know that I know you love the sprouts that I make, so I've had to put those on there to beef it up.
Have you done the sprout thing on the show?
I'm going to do the sprout show.
Okay.
I'm working on that right now. Actually,
I have sprouts in my fridge right now.
Oh, perfect. Well,
love the
let's talk after this.
All right.
So the nice thing about that is you get the garlic flavor comes through. So does the basil. It's just really nice and fresh.
That is good.
And
That's
So
very
good.
simple. Could you add more to that? Like if you
Yes.
add tomatoes?
Oh,
or just-
tomatoes.
That would be good.
Chopped cucumber, you could put olives, you could put avocado slices, you can make it into a sandwich. I wanted you to be able to taste the
very pure.
abundance of, and then you can add whatever
Now,
you
you
like.
mentioned pumpkin seeds, and some people might go to their local organic area of their store, but they're not listed as pumpkin seeds. They're listed as something else, just so you know.
Sometimes they're called pepitas.
That's exactly
Really?
right.
Yes.
Because we were looking for them and we couldn't find them, and it was like, no, they're right here, and it didn't say pumpkin on it.
Right, and it depends on the store. Sometimes they'll say both, but pepitas equals pumpkin seeds. Always buy raw, the unsalted, unrefined, so that you can do whatever you want to them and add your own oils and salts and whatever else you need. So
That is
You know how I feel about salt.
I do know how you feel about salt. I did put a little salt in the pesto
Thank you.
just for you, Jason.
Thank you.
Well,
very
everything
much.
tastes absolutely delicious.
Thank you. Well, it's
knew?
the nice thing. It's
knew?
fresh. Now, and
What is
Lou,
this here?
you've reminded me. I make my own crackers, and the crackers are also another idea for your pesto. You don't have to put pesto just on pasta, which most people do. We can put in a romaine leaf. We can add it to a cracker. The crackers I make are made out of flax seeds. There is a little bit of basil in there. I use fresh herbs. So
These are great.
basil can be used on just about everything. Just go crazy with it.
That is really good.
What would it cost to have you come and cook for my family?
More than you can
I'd have
afford.
to have good weather all the time. We'll do a trade.
Do you blend it in a food processor? What do you do to get it to this level of cooking it?
Food processor is what we use for the pesto, and that's all you need. And you can use a little mini one if you want to make a small batch. If you want to use make a dressing, you would use a blender, and the same thing. You would use the same piece of equipment, a blender, to make your smoothie. So you don't need a lot of fancy things. Actually, the salad dressing you could probably just do by hand if you could mince up your
Just
spices.
whisk it together. Of course, fork in the roll. Here is the blueberry basil smoothie recipe. This is really unusual. This is really
good, folks.
And bananas are on sale now, so load up on your bananas. And really quickly, I know we have to go, but really quickly, if people are loading up on bananas, tell them what the best thing to do with bananas, about keeping them for a while.
Oh, to keep several things. If you're going to keep them for your smoothies, you're going to want to peel them before you put them in the freezer, and they'll keep really well. Let them get really ripe so that the sugars come forward, and then you don't have to add a lot of sweeteners. But I like to, if I'm storing them on the counter, I use a banana tree, which we've had on the show before, and that keeps them fresh and keeps them from getting bruised.
Perfect. Wonderful. And Fork in the Road back on the air pretty soon.
Hope so.
There you
All
go.
right, there it is,
Cheers to
fork-road.com for
basil.
more information and to get
That was
a
all
ton
great.
of recipes too.